The antecedents of this company starts with a bank that I was part in acquiring many years ago, 6 years ago. And as we built the bank out into what is a truly digital bank, we did the hard way. We learned about all the issues in banking. One of them was we needed to sleep at night, which is compliance and risk management. Without that, no bank can survive because a bank is a highly regulated entity in any country. Am I supposed to switch this on or something? Is it on? Do you guys hear me? Yeah? Oh, this is recording. So as we went along, we tried to buy a solution where when we launched real-time payments in the bank, we had by then set up a company called Yantra to build the tech for the bank. We could not find a solution that could risk score transactions in real time. And that is a must. If you're going to move money really fast, you got to know the risk in real time. If you don't know the risk, you're going to be bust very quickly. It's like driving a really fast Ferrari without brakes in a curvy road. You won't last long. So we built a solution that can do anti-money laundering, KYC, watch list filtering across all channels, and risk score across all channels. And if you see on the other side, you can see all the big banks who give money back to the government as taxes for failure to comply. So we didn't want to be one of those. And so far, we are not on that list. We have not had to do anything in terms of, we have not had no single finding on the bank side. So let me talk a little bit more about the system. We built a system that is a bank-grade performance that can do search and find any transaction instantly. By the way, this sounds silly. I mean, in the age of Google, you think you can find any transaction easily in a bank. Try doing that in your bank if they let you in. In my bank, I had to know either the first name, last name correctly, or I had to know the SSN number, or I couldn't find it. Or I had to create a report. We learned to filter across, and by the way, I'm an unpaid snitch with personal criminal liability for the government. So if I don't do what they say, they can put me in jail as a banker. Which means if they give me a list and say, check if anybody's on the list, I'm supposed to do that and prove that I did it and send reports back to them. Bankers are that highly regulated. And you can check it up, it's called the US Patriot Act. Okay. So we want to deal with that. Then we want to have scoring systems because you have to have some way to identify who's fraudulent, who's not, who's money laundering, who's not. You need to have a range of scores. Obviously, then use the scores to do AML. Then you have to create case management so that it becomes into analysts who can actually further verify what happened. Then you report it. So let me show you a demo of the system. It doesn't look like a banking system. It looks like Google, right? And the reason is my guys wanted to joke with me because I previously worked for a company like that. And so I just searched 50 million records. On a string search, I could find any Carlos. I can pick any one of them and say I pick Rodriguez. I can see what happened. I can see the risk score. I can see his watch list filtered. These two things are mandatory for me as a bank. I have to prove. Previously, banks had to do this once in 2 weeks. Now we changed the game. We do it in every transaction, every time we touch something, we do it. And once you do this, obviously we can do more things. We can see where he lives and all that stuff, right? So where is it? So unless you want to look at his paint job in Mexico, we can also find every check transaction in our bank or every wires. Let's pick check ATM or whatever. So we can do that, instantly find all the transactions. We can analyze a customer. We can look at their, we can do crazy things like this. You can see where Alicia has been spending her money. We can identify her spending radius. We can make every one of them clickable and find out what's happened there. You can see where she went for ATM, ACH, whatever. We can also build profiles of customers from here, which we are required to do. We can build a profile which shows money in, money out. And somebody asked me in the previous presentation, can we do credit underwriting? Of course. If money in minus money out is positive, you're saving money. And we can give you a credit card. If money in minus money is negative, you got to go to a payday lender soon. Right? So the key to understanding all this is as you understand payments in real time, you understand these things. Right? So we build scenarios where you can literally create scenarios of saying, okay, I want to find any high volume wire, somebody here from Swift, any high volume wire instantly and risk score it if it's one standard deviation from what they normally do. So that's an example here. You can see that if you cross sigma level 1, transaction type wire in these 3 days, flag it, right? Similarly, You want to do ATM. This is one of the few systems we did across all channels. If you want to do an ATM, somebody's 3 sigma away, you're withdrawing $2,000 instead of usually $200, and your daily limits is breached, and you're doing it more than 5 transactions today, you must be at a casino, right? Right? So as a banker, we have 200 plus scenarios. I mean, at some day we'll have 3,000 scenarios of all these things happening, of customer behavior that we are finding. So this gives you an understanding of the product, how this works. So let me go back to the presentation before we run out of time and show you where we are in the market. So the performance is quite, we had to have performance of this scale, otherwise you can't search, 10 years from now I may have 10 billion transactions in my bank, maybe even 100 billion. So I should know how to find something instantly. We tuned it. It has to be cloud for us because we can keep adding more hardware, because we're going to need memory, ever increasing memory forever, because we're never deleting transactions. Today banks delete your transactions because how do you know? Try to find a statement from 4 years ago, it won't be on your online banking. They'll have to call the archival group that will go pick it up and give you a PDF. We're eliminating that, right? So the markets for AML software and big data predictive analysis is growing. Obviously, we can see the demand coming to us. It's a nice chart. You guys can study that later from Gartner. They do a very good job with colors and numbers, which they don't have to take responsibility for. So pricing anywhere between $500,000 to $5 million for big banks, small banks. We're still working with trade associations on how to, the problem is the same for small banks and big banks. So the challenge of small banks is they don't have the money to pay for it, but they still need the same thing at a smaller volume. So we're working out the pricing on that. We've implemented one. We got 3 underway. They're all already existing partners of the company. Several core processors want to integrate this into the core processing system. We got some decent press. Glenbrook wrote some nice things about us. So that gives you some idea of the traction. I do question that guy, but otherwise the rest of the guys are decent. And we raised $8 million about 3 years ago to get this business started, along with other things. So thank you. I'll take questions.